until you learn to say no, you will always lag behind in life. So if you don't know how to say no, you are really losing out on a lot. If you don't know how to say no, a lot of things are passing you by. If you have not learned to say no, then you are being dragged back by a lot of people. And without learning to say no, it also means that all your dreams and prophecies and whatever you are expecting this year, it's unlikely you are going to get it. It's unlikely you are going to get them. Most likely you will not attain the goals and the dreams that you are having in your heart if you have not learned to say no. And most likely you will never really become who you intend or intended to become in your lifetime. But I feel you. I feel you. I feel you because it's not easy to say no. Especially if you are a people-relational person. If you are a people-relational person, it's especially not easy to say no. But you have to look at it as this. No, it's a ability to say no is a skill that you have to develop. That's the way to look at it. You have to look at it as an essential skill on your way to greatness. There is really no way for you to become who you wish to become. There's no way for you to become the person God wants you to become, or the person that you have the potential of becoming, without this ability of being able to say no. So that skill has to be developed in you and by you alone. Until you develop it, you will always compromise your position. And you will always be forced to move backward and go back when you are supposed to be going forward. So to say no, yeah, it's not as easy. It's not as easy. The ability to say no, therefore, it has to be acquired. It's not something that comes easily. It has to be acquired. So today I'm going to try to help you and come through for you, and by going through some stages and steps on how to learn, how to develop this skill, on how to develop the skill of being able to say no. For some people, it's not difficult to say no, but then they are regarded as bashful people, ruffians, unfriendly, wicked, people who lack understanding, lack love. Yeah, all kinds of negative connotations, all kinds of negative names are being given to people who actually have developed the skill of saying no. So, and because of the fear of men to some extent, or the fear of public opinion, many of us would not like to have that kind of reputation, that we are wicked, or we're too rough, or we don't have love, or many people don't like to have that reputation, so they would rather compromise and they will rather put down their own interest than to stand on their own ground and maintain their integrity by saying no. Like I said, it's not as easy as it appears. It's like, why not? Just say no if you don't like it. Ooh, well, if it had been as easy as that, there would be no need for me to be teaching this. Yeah, people who find it easy to say no are regarded as people without feelings, people without compassion. They are seen as apathetic kind of people. They are seen as mean people. So how can you learn to say no and yet not be so much hated by others, and yet maintain your relationship with other people? So how do you maintain that? Well, like I said, the number one thing I want you to know is that you are not born with that ability to be able to say no. Now, some people do. It depends on it depends on a lot of things. It depends on your your conditions of how you grew up, the circumstances and the situations surrounding your upbringing, and if you are used to a hard life and but brought up in an atmosphere of this strict discipline and harshness and strong discipline figures or disciplinarians. Yes, you might have that, but not everybody has it. And maybe you've been coached to have it, but to a large extent, it's something that you need to really acquire, because most of the people who know how to say no, they are not also too tactful about it. So even though they say no, but they are not very tactful, and because they are not very tactful, that's why they are hated even the more. So to say no, you've got to learn to say no. One thing you must also know is that you are not obliged. You should not feel obligated to always concede to people's requests. You should not feel the obligation that you have to always say yes, that you have to always give people favorable answers to their requests to you. So you are not obliged to anyone. You are not obliged to give a yes answer for anything that you are being asked or that is being demanded of you. So I'm going to give you some concrete steps that will help you to deal with this dilemma. Because until you do it, you cannot really attain all your potential. You've got to wake up and grow up one day. You've got to be able to say no, no, no as many times as possible. Otherwise, you will not get where you're planning to go to. So, number one thing that you want to pay attention to, give yourself that permission. It's a psychological question. So you have to psychologically get yourself to that place. You have to take the decision. You have to, within you, talk to yourself, and within you yourself have to give yourself the permission to be able to say no. To a lot of people, when it's time for them to say no, they begin to have knee-jerk experience. They begin to have, they begin to be nervous. And even though they might not want to say yes, but out of just being nervous, they end up saying yes. So you need to give yourself the permission to say no. And you need to take yourself that decision. One day, you need to say, okay, from today, I want to be able to say no to all the pressures and all the proposals that are coming to me day and night. So give yourself that permission. It's about allowing yourself to know that it's not wrong to say no. That means that you have to give yourself the ability, the freedom to be able to say no without feeling guilty. So you have to let yourself say no without regretting it and without suffering by yourself. Because many a times when we say no, then we allow conscience and guilty conscience to begin to hurt us. So we begin to suffer and think, oh, why did I say no? Maybe that person was angry, maybe they didn't like it, maybe he would not understand. But like I said, it's part of being grown up. Part of maturity is the ability to be able to say no and not feel guilty for it. What does that mean, the ability to say no and not feel guilty? That means that you exalt your own place, your own opinion, your own vision, and your own priority above the priority of others. So when you get to that place, when you fall in love with your own priority, when you get to that place, when you fall in love with your own calling and with your own choices, and you respect your choice and you respect your priority and your choice more strongly than you respect people's opinion, then it will be much easier for you. It will be much easier for you to say no. But no, you have to connect it. You have to connect that no to where you are going in life. You need to connect that no to your purpose, to your vision, and to putting ahead of anything else your own interests. So learn to love yourself, learn to honor yourself, learn to respect yourself, and learn to put your interest above the emotional pressures that come to you. Even though the Bible says that we should honor other people, we should prefer them before ourselves. But in this particular case, you cannot just do something that you know is against your conscience, it's against the plan you already had. So if you already had a plan, if you already were willing or planning to do something, you should not, just because of intimidation, say yes to people when you really know that you cannot afford to say yes. And then you put yourself under the pressure of trying to manage the consequences. So another thing with the ability to say no is that we're always afraid of the inconvenience, the shame, and the disagreement or lack of understanding that other people will have towards us when we say no. So a lot of times that fear and of repercussions and of consequences, they make us and force us to say yes. But you see, that discomfort that you feel when you say no is only temporal. It's only temporal. But when you say yes and you put yourself in a compromising situation, that will not be temporal anymore. That will go over and over and over again. It will not just end right there. It will keep on going. And you have to compromise all the time in the future. But here, if you say no, that inconvenience is just there and now. And then, you can avoid the long-term regret. So the first thing I was saying is give yourself the permission to say no. Give yourself the permission to say no. Permission. That means it is your decision. You've got to come to a place of decision. You've got to come to a place where you say, I'm giving myself the permission. I am allowing myself to do it. Because if it's not a conscious decision that you take, it might never happen. It might never happen. Okay, next point on how to learn to say no. Identify your own personal boundaries. So if it is money, for example, you know that this money is for the school, this money is for God, this money is for your personal something. So if you have identified that boundary or those boundaries of where what belongs, know that boundaries must never be crossed. So you know that you are not crossing that boundary. If you don't have your own boundaries, of course it will be easy for other people to make you to always move on and off the boundary because you don't have any boundary anyway. So personal boundary involves decisions that you don't even allow yourself to take, or boundaries that you don't even allow yourself to cross. So let's say you have money in 3 categories. Let's say you have a total of $3,000. You have $1,000 for your savings and to invest in the future. So you have put that aside. Then you have another $1,000 for your family, maybe for the children. And you have put that aside as well. And you have $1,000 that you are trying to live by. And then somebody is coming to say, I need $1,000. Please, I need it. And people will always come with emotions. People will always come with persuasions. People will always come in a way that will make you to say, wow, I feel like doing everything for this person, even if I don't have it. So, but if you don't have a personal boundary that says, even though I have access to this money of the children, and I have access to the money of the family for savings, and even the ones that I'm using right now, the concurrent one, even though I have access to all of them, but I respect my boundaries so much that I even will not cross it. I cannot even afford to go and do what these people are asking me to do, even for myself. Then, if you cannot cross it, if you have given yourself that standard that you don't cross your boundaries, then it's easier for you to tell people that, no, I can't cross it, I don't have the money. But if you are the type of person that tells yourself that this one is for saving, then any little problem, you are going to take it from the saving and you are using it for other things. It means for yourself, you don't have boundaries. You yourself, you are violating your own boundaries. And since you are already used to violating your own boundaries, when somebody comes with their own stories and pressure on you, you are used to doing it because you have done it before. So you end up to say, well, I don't have the money, but I put some money away for the children, or I put some money away for investment. Maybe I'll give you that. And that's what most of us eventually do. We go and give the money that we have allocated for something else. The money that is supposed to be beyond our reach, and the money that is supposed to be, for the children or for the future or for the family. We just go and touch it. And the reason for that is because we don't have personal boundaries. We don't have personal boundaries. So in your own private life, think about how you could practice more of boundaries. So once you yourself have started practicing the boundaries that you put yourself in and you put around yourself on a daily basis, then you will know that will be easier for you to be able to say no to other people from outside that are putting pressure on you. But if you don't have that kind of boundary, even you yourself will violate it. You will violate the rule. And then the people who are coming to you, you will always say, okay, it's not my money, but it's children's money, but I will give you, I hope you bring it. But people don't pay back debt, you know. People don't pay back debt. It's only on rare cases people pay debt back. Maybe less than 10% of the people pay debt back. Not the bank debt, but individual or friends debt. People don't pay. So put a boundary for yourself so that through your own boundary, you'll be able to help other people. And when you have boundary, then you will be able, it will be easier for you to say no. It will be easier for you to say no. So you see, we are talking about learning to say no. That until you learn to say no, you always lag behind your, you always lag behind in life. You always lag behind in life. Next point that you might want to know, you have to be careful about people's manipulations. Most of the people who come to you to ask for one thing or the other, they also are manipulative. All of us sometimes have a way of that we try to manipulate other people. And, and those people are using the same tricks on you. People are out there trying to manipulate you. And you must know some of the tactics and what makes this happen. Meanwhile, while I'm saying this, let's go ahead and share the message. Yeah, so if you are here listening to me today, please go and look for the share button and let's share this message as well, if you don't mind. Let's go ahead and look for the share button and share the message. Okay. So, what are the manipulations that people use? First of all, people make you to feel guilty for saying no. If you want to say no, people say, but you pity me. So they try to make you feel guilty that you are going to say no. And some of the time, we fall into that manipulations. We don't even know that it's manipulation. And people say, oh, I'm hopeless, or I don't have any way out, you are the only person, I'm going to die, or this is going to happen, nobody to help me. And many people fall into that manipulation, and we just say, well, we let our emotions take the better part of us. Emotions take the better part of us. Another manipulation that people do is that they keep on asking. They don't give up. You show them that you don't have. Then they begin to ask, but this time, reduce it. So if they were asking for 1,000 before, they say at least any amount you can. At least 500. At least this. At least this. Or any amount you can. Or, do this for me. Do that for me. So that is another trick, manipulation that people use. They start with a bigger amount, and then they still want to go with something at least. So they begin to say, at least anyhow, any amount you have, give me, or half of it, or something like that. Even pastors do this in church. They will start out by saying that the Holy Spirit told them there are 2 or 3 people, or maybe 100 people with $1,000 to give. Then when the 100 people have come out, or 50 people have come out, then the prophecy will just change. So, okay, maybe you don't have 100, maybe 1,000. Okay, if you have 500, no problem. Okay, yeah. So God started by saying it was a 1,000 or that. God said somebody here is having $1,000. You have to bring. Then 10 people with $1,000. Maybe 8 people came, or maybe 10 people actually came. Then you say, okay, now $500. But you said Holy Spirit said that. So Holy Spirit is then after $500, okay, those who have 100, raise up your hand, raise up your hand. It's manipulations. And some people are falling to this kind of manipulations. Some people are falling to it. And some people even get annoyed that I'm mentioning these things. But we've got to talk about it. Another manipulation that people use is that they tell you other people have promised, or somebody else gave me this, somebody else did that. That the fact that somebody else gave such an amount, you shouldn't be in competition with anybody. The fact that that person gave that amount, that's his own problem. That's his own freedom. That is what he can afford. If I cannot afford it, you shouldn't make me feel guilty for it. If I cannot afford it now, leave me alone. Leave me alone. So that's another manipulation people do. They say, yeah, so and so give me this, so and so. Only you are left. So don't fall into that manipulation. The next manipulation people do is that they say, okay, I need $1,000, but I ask you, give me whatever you want. Well, that is another area where you should learn to say no. Because if he needs 1,000 and you give him 100 and it doesn't gather all the 1,000, it just goes and uses the 100 and how it feels. So beware of people's manipulations. Beware of people's manipulations. Next thing that you have to learn for you to be able to say no is that sometimes you might need to practice how to say no. Sit down and rehearse. What about if somebody comes to me saying this, telling me stories of their father or mother who is sick? Will I be able to stand it? Will I be able to hold up? Will I be able to say no? What about if somebody comes, this is my last money. What about if somebody comes and says, you have to do this, you have to do this. So you have to actually rehearse. Sometimes for us to be able to say no and be able to learn the art of saying no and be able to be perfect in it and be able to actually be able to, master the art, you need to practice it. Even to the extent of standing before the mirror and looking yourself in the face as an example of looking people right in their face and saying, I'm sorry, I cannot afford it. I don't have it. So you need to rehearse and repeat it and practice it and remember, recollect and think of different situations and different kind of people coming to you. So by the time you have said no to them in your mind, before the real situation comes, then it will be easier in real life to say no. So once you have already, because some of the yes that we say, we put ourselves in trouble most of the time. Most of the time when we are not able to say no and we just agree to everything, we actually do that at our own expenses. We actually have to pay for that thing anyway. It's just like saying somebody came to you and said, give me that $1,000 that's for the school fees of the children. Then they don't bring it. If they will ever bring it at all, they will never bring it on time. And then you discover that the children have to go to school. So you end up paying. So it's your own expenses. So at your own very expense, you have to, you have said yes. So that yes will cost you something. It's not just going to cost you the 50 you gave, the 1,000 you gave, because the 1,000 you gave, that is the one you had before. Now that one is gone with this your friend, And then you have to pay another 1,000 from where? So 2,000 you are losing as a result of not being able to say no. So most of our, answers when we say yes, our commitments, our promises to people, we pay the price. We end up paying the price. So practice it. Practice how, you might be able to say no to people. Rehearse it in your mind. Rehearse it. And that rehearsal will help you, because practice makes perfect. Like I said, you can never really go far in life without being able to say no. Because if you are not able to say no, a lot of people are going to discourage you. You must be able to say, no, I know what I'm doing, and I'm pursuing what I need to do. A lot of people will see what you are doing as wrong and come back to you and try to say, you have to, reject your own idea or whatever you are doing. And then you are losing not just money, you are losing your vision, you are losing your purpose. I didn't sleep this night. You can tell, eh? I've not slept. I will try to sleep in the car to the church, on my way to the church. By the way, we're having, we're going to broadcast our service today. It's going to be my first Sunday in the church this month. And it's so cold there, the coldest in 120 years. It's the coldest in 120 years. It's so cold, so cold here. So, but we'll be in church, and I'll be preaching today. And so I think they will translate it to English, and it will be broadcasted. So for some of you who want to watch that might be something different for you. And the other day I was asking for anybody who lives in Germany. If you live in Germany, please write to me, to my email, pastor@godembassy.org. pastor@godembassy.org. Okay, apart from practicing saying how to say no, another way and trick for you to be able to get, to learn to not to agree for every proposal that people bring to you. Another trick, another skill you could develop to say no to people is not to be impulsive, not to be very impulsive in your responses. When people come to you with suggestion, and don't be impulsive. What I mean by don't be impulsive is that don't give immediate answers. Don't give immediate answers. So always tell them that, let me think about it. Or come back to me about that. Or I need more time. Before I need more time. Or like the Christians do. The Christians say, I want to pray about it. They don't pray about anything. When Christians say, let me pray about it, the prayer don't come here. It's a delay tactic. So, and some of the times, by the time you say, you put on that delay tactic that, you want to pray about it, or you come back to them or something like that. Some of them will not even come back again. Some of them will not even come back. They already know that. Because, most of the time, people who want you to get yes, most of them, they always use another manipulative tactic that I didn't say. They will always say, it is urgent. It is now. It is now. So by the time you say, you can. Sorry guys, that was internet problem. So like I said, use delay tactics on them. Because when you are too impulsive, And when you are always, responding immediately, and you feel that you have to give answer right now, right and there, that could be a problem, because you overcommit yourself, and you commit yourself, and then before you discover that you couldn't even afford what you were committing to do. So you had said yes, and then you cannot say no again, and you have to now force yourself into doing the thing that you couldn't do. So don't be impulsive in your answers. Don't be impulsive as you give answer and response to people asking for one thing or the other, asking you to do one thing or the other. Let them know that you are a Christian and you need to pray about it. Or you have to think about it. Or you have to, in America, people always say they want to talk to their spouse. They want to talk to their spouse about it. They want to talk to their husband or to their wives, and before they could take a decision. Then, so when they want to come back with negative decision, they always put it on their wife. My wife doesn't think this is right to do. That's one of the little advantages of having a wife. My wife doesn't think it's a good thing to do right now. So, yeah, some of you might want to use that tactics also. If your wife allows you, of course. Otherwise, you'll be putting your wife in trouble with your friends and relatives. And then they'll be fighting. They'll be saying it is the wife that you married that is the problem. So if you don't want that to happen, leave your wife out of it. And I'm sure some women also use that, not against, but use their husbands as a cover-up, that my husband doesn't want us to do it. No, my husband is against it. Well, anyhow, the the bottom line is, try not to give an impulsive answers. Try not to give impulsive responses, and that make you to promise, and then before you discover that you cannot afford it. Sherman say, when men do that, then the woman becomes the public enemy. Yeah, well, that's why I'm not sure. I just say Americans do it, that's all. Not that I'm saying you should do it. I'm just giving you an example of how some people do. How they use the delay tactic. So, yep. So anybody who is living in Germany, please write me a letter. I need to help a girl there. That is a very good girl who is my disciple that needs help urgently. And I can't get anybody on time. I've been bothered by that because it's difficult for me to do it from here. So anybody, if you are in Germany, please get in touch with me and write me, and I will tell you what the situation is. Okay, thank you. Okay, next point. How do you learn to say no? Because you must develop that skill of saying no if you really want to go far in life. A lot of failures in life is connected to the fact that people are not able to say no. People are not able to say no. No, if you live in Germany and you want to give me your answer, write me to my email. My email is pastor@godembassy.org. Pastor@godembassy.org. Okay, so let me let me give you some more points. So now, how do you say no without feeling too guilty and without losing friends? It's difficult, eh? Number one, Learn to say that no with compassion. Learn to say no with compassion. What does that mean? That means that, okay, gift. I think I will need your help this time. Help me bring the chair. Yes. Okay. This way. Yeah, you come. So, let's say you are asking me to do something, and which I cannot afford to. So I'm saying, I don't feel like demonstrating this. Anyway, the bottom line is start by giving that person a support, empathy. Show empathy to the person and say things like, wow, wow, I can't believe you mean it. Ooh, wow. Ooh. I'm sorry. I can't just get this to be serious this time. Learn to show them empathy and tell them, oh, I'm very sorry. Oh, wow, you mean that happened? No, it's not possible. Wow, you mean it? Ah. Ooh, ooh, ah. Ooh, wow. Sorry. Sorry. How can that happen? They did that to you? Oh, they are bad. Ah, people are wicked. So give some empathy. That's the bottom line. Give some empathy to the people and let them know that really that you empathize with them and that you sympathize with them and that people are saying what I'm doing is so fake. That is so unconvincing. Yeah, I will be before I started doing it. I knew it won't work. Anyway, but the bottom line is start by giving the people empathy. Start by letting them know that you really feel for them. Start by letting them know that you would really like to help them. But that's where the problem starts. But it's much more easier for you now to say, but right now, this is my situation. So that's why I cannot really help. So, and also it's easier for the person who came. So the person who came knows that at least you are giving them moral support. So that moral support sometimes even could do more for the person to help the person than than the physical help that you wanted to give or you couldn't give. Sholange said, Pastor, they will think you are mocking them. Yeah, that's because of the way it came out for me this time, because of the way I'm doing it. But people like Gift, you will be an expert in doing it the right way. Women know how to do it. My sister. Sorry. Yeah, so she might be able to do that better. But for me, it didn't work out. It doesn't work out. So the bottom line is let the person feel the empathy and that you are not faking it and that you really wanted to help them and give them the moral support. So that's another way to say no without feeling guilty. Okay, that's another way to say no without feeling guilty. Thank you so much. Another way you could say no without feeling guilty is to start out by giving the person compliment. let's say you have really been, I think I'm going to need you again. This time you can stand. So you could say, Mama Tyra, Mama Tyra's mother, or Mama Tyra, or Mrs. Sholange, or Mrs. Davis. You have really been a good mother. The fact that you couldn't pay the school fees for your children, that does not define you. That is different a little bit from empathy, but that is giving compliment. Give compliment to her and say that you have really been a good mother. Maybe people didn't see your effort, but you have been doing a good job. Or you have really been a good Christian. This thing that happened doesn't define you. You have been doing a good job. You have been doing a good job. Look what you did. Look what you did. Look what, find something good that they do. Oh, okay. That Daniel Bassi said her name is Solange. She even writes it in Russian. Wow, Solange. Okay, Solange. Wow. I thought it was African name, but Solange sounds like it's not African. All right, okay, Solange. I'm going to know now. Anyway, so, yeah. So you give them compliment. Give compliment before you say no. Just compliment the person. Look for something good, something positive that the person has done or is doing that could be commended. Commend them. Commend the person before you say no. So then you could say, okay, but despite the fact that I cannot help right now, just know that you have done a good job. You are doing a good job. Don't lose heart and things like that. Just compliment the person. The next way to say no without, you can sit stand. The next way to say no without feeling guilty is so the first one I told you is to give empathy. Second one, compliment. The third thing you can do to say no without feeling guilty is to give, instead of the thing the person is asking for, give either empathy, either compliment, or number 3, give gratitude. Show gratitude that they even came to you, that you appreciate it that they even came to you, that you appreciate it that they will even consider you. To be like saying, wow, thank you so much for even considering me to be the person that for trusting me with this your crisis, or with this your problem, or with this your challenge. Thank you so much for coming to me to confide in me about this your situation. So give gratitude, and tell, or you want to give gratitude for what they have done for you in the past or in some other things. So give gratitude, one way or the other. Find a way to be, to show gratitude and thanksgiving to them. That also could be another way of saying no without feeling guilty. Then another thing you could give, apart from gratitude, another thing you could give is give encouragement. Give encouragement. Let them know that everything is going to be okay. Encouragement could include prayers. Okay, let's pray for you, or I'll be praying for you. Give hope, give encouragement. Pray for them. Promise to pray for them. Tell them that everything will be okay. Encourage them the way you can. So give encouragement. That's number 4, eh? Yeah, I think it's number 4. Give encouragement. And then, finally, number 5. These are all things you can do without feeling guilty, right? So number 5, thank them before they go. They are the ones supposed to thank you, but you could thank them as well. So make sure you thank them. You tell them that you appreciate them, thank them for coming and all that. So thanking them also could help you to do the thing without. So all these 5 points that I give now, how to say no without feeling guilty, they will not just help you to say no without feeling guilty, but they help you to say no without losing relationships. They will help you to say no without losing the relationship, without losing the relationship that you people are having. Thank you, my sister. So if you are not worried about losing relationship, if you are not worried about losing relationship, and you are not worried about offending people, or you are not worried about feeling guilty, then then it's good for you. Then you could just say no, clear outright no, I don't have it. Please, I'm sorry, just no. Then it's easier for those kind of people who don't feel that they might lose relationship, or people might not, understand them and all that. So for them, it's easier to just say no. Next point, the next way to say no, not to learn to say no is you should keep in mind that you are not really obliged to help anybody. Nobody owes anybody anything. You don't owe anybody anything, and nobody owes you anything. So don't feel guilty for saying no to people. Don't feel guilty that you cannot afford it this time. You are not obliged. Nobody owes anybody anything. So you need no reason to defend yourself, or you need no reason to justify yourself. You need no reason. There's no reason for you to be given explanation. There's no reason for you to feel guilty. There's no reason that you must help the person. You are not obliged to do anything to anybody. Even though we are obliged by God to help people, to love people, but that doesn't mean that particular person has to be given that thing he's asking for. Then the next reason that will make you to be able to say no without guilt is that you know your own struggles and the person doesn't know it. You know your own needs and the people don't know it. So, they might be thinking, how can he do that? How can he say no? But we know that he has money. He has a lot of money. But they don't know some things that only you know. So, just, let them, comfort yourself with that. Speak to yourself that they don't know what I know. I have, needs that, that are personal. My personal needs that they might not even be aware of. So you are a free agent. You have the liberty to have your own personal reasons why you cannot do what they're asking you to do. Personal and subjective reasons why you cannot do what they're asking you to do. As a matter of fact, you should also know that saying no sometimes could be one of the greatest helps you could give to the other person. Because when you say no, the other person might be able to go and learn and develop themselves and be able to fight for victory in their own lives too. So by saying no, you might be helping people to become non-dependent, not to become paralytic, and so on and so forth. And finally, once you have decided that you cannot afford to do one thing or the other, and you have given your answer no, don't look back. Don't begin to live in regret and be calling back. Okay, you came. I couldn't get help, but no, now I decided. Once you gave your, once you have given your decision, keep to it. Don't look back. Don't look back. So that's the thing I want to talk to you about today.